So the argument has been made that, well, the judiciary is just operating within the rules of the court, and that a daily trial may be seen to be unfair, but within the eyes of the courts, it is justified or legitimate.
Good morning to our viewers. Good morning to my brothers in the panel. Good morning to you. Every court would act and acts. First, we should know that the law is in the bosom of the judge. First criteria. Second, every court would and should act on the principles of rule of law. It's a basic fundamental situation where every court acts on the principles of rule of law. That is the engine of every court. Now, when I look at the statement made by the speaker, and I quote, he says, "I tell them and I tell the judges it is not right. If it is done to everybody, I have no problem. But if it is done selectively, I have a problem." How many cases have we seen in this country that the kind of selection that has been chosen for this case has happened? And I ask the question, why do the MPP continue to make Gyakye Quayson popular?
And why do you say that?
Why? They're making him popular by going on and on and on and on. One of the reasons why he won was because of how the MPP themselves put their candidate aside and were campaigning for Gyakye Quayson.
How did they do that?
And today he's going to court, and tomorrow he's not going to court, and today he did this. And what was that? His name was always being mentioned. Ask me, how many times did you hear them talk about their candidate? How many times? How many times? Roland, for me, I think the AG should file a motion of nolle prosequi in this case.
Say that again. The Attorney General.
Yeah, the AG should file a motion of nolle prosequi in this case.
Why should he?
Look, if the perception is already there by the electorate in Asin North that he's being hounded, Gyakye Quayson is being hounded, you continue it and you push it, and it happens that Gyakye Quayson is put in prison, you think they'll forgive you? Remembering that there's an election coming up 2024. Remembering that there's an election coming up 2024. Put in a motion of nolle prosequi. You are not interested in the case anymore. Go down to the ground and start working for election 2024.
With Charles Opoku?
With whoever.
Okay.
Gain the confidence of the people. And you see, one of the major differences in Asin North is the fact that it's a swing constituency. MPP have won it. NDC have won it. It's a swing constituency. And come the next election, Parliament, now we have 137, 137. If you don't take care, the opposition would have more members than the majority. If you don't take care.
How did you make that conclusion?
Or look at the trend of the people. Look at how people have risen in terms of voting, have risen from the days of the early Fourth Republic to today. Even the 2020 election, look at how it was done. Skirt and blouse was rife. So for me, if I were in the MPP, I would say, forget the court case. Let's go back to Asin North. Let's start working today for 2024. Because the people, if by any chance, if it so happens that they find Gyakye Quayson guilty and he's thrown in jail, the people won't forgive the MPP. Because they've shown you through this election that they went in favor of what you did in terms of always talking about him and he's done this and he's done this, he's broken that. The people didn't like it and they've shown you in an election. So yours is to go back and work hard.
You made a comment about how the ruling party kept hammering on the name of Gyakye Quayson, he has a criminal matter, he could end up in court. Actually, I had even a question or a banter between some of their communicators that how did they draw that conclusion? Then on Saturday, the president makes the statement, of course, in reference to, calling the bluff by Gyakye Quayson of all that is being said. Now, how do you think that statement by the president really affected the chances of the ruling party in Nasi North?
You see, the president, unfortunately, didn't go according to what his office was meant to do.
How?
If I, the president, there's no way I'll stand on the platform and talk about Gyakye Quayson. What I will talk about is my candidate and what my candidate can do for you, the people. What my candidate can do for you, the people. Itemize it one by one. Itemize it one by one. The projects, whatever, itemize it. Talk for your parliamentary candidates and talk for your government. We've done this here, we've done this there, we've done this here. We weren't able to do this, but with this new MP coming in, we'll be able to do X, we'll be able to do Y. You're marketing yourself going forward. But if you continue talking about your opposition, psychologically, it puts a certain mindset in the people's mind. And so, for me, he contributed to their loss. President contributed to their loss. And so, I would continuously say, AG, go and file a motion of nolle prosequi. And the MPP, go back into Asin North and start today if you want to win. Because it's a swing state. It's nobody's stronghold. It's nobody's stronghold. It was a stronghold for the MPP when it was one state, one constituency. I don't think that is so anymore. So I believe, and one thing I didn't understand.
Which is what?
Why would the president, the vice president, members of parliament, all of them go into Asin North?
They wanted to win the seat.
You think so? You think that was the reason? You think that was the reason?
What's your observation?
Don't you think if President Akufo-Addo had been able to stick to the promises he made and shown that those promises have been put on ground for the people to see, they would need to go there? Would they need to go there? It will speak for itself. It will speak for itself. It will speak for itself. But because you haven't been able to do what you said you would do, and because you feel that the people would vote against you because of that, you all troop into Asin North.
Didn't you see earth-moving equipment working on roads?
You don't understand.
There was an update on Agenda 111 project that was there, an AstroTurf.
You don't understand. You don't understand what I'm saying. All this should have happened at the beginning, gradually. AstroTurf you're talking about, when it rained, what happened to AstroTurf? The AstroTurf you talk about, that the vice president went to commission. When it rained, what happened to the AstroTurf? Wasn't it flooded? Wasn't it? Let them, your people have, let them show it. Wasn't it flooded? What does that tell you? What does that tell you? It's one thing putting an AstroTurf in, it's one thing doing it right. And so, for me, let's stop all these shenanigans. Asin North is finished and gone. Let's stop all these shenanigans. And let's look at how best, the MPP should look at how best can we take this seat back. That's the most important thing. If they continue on this trajectory, the people of Asin North will hold it against them in the next election. The AG should file a motion of nolle prosequi and forget about the case and let's move on.
Now, the continuous drumming home of Gyakye Quayson, who is now the MP-elect, having a criminal case, and the definite pronouncement by you and your assigns, for which the president now put a finality to it at that rally on Sunday, that he's a candidate for jail. How did the president, you, and the ruling party and government come to that conclusion, that Gyakye Quayson is a candidate for jail?
Yeah,
Did you speak to the judges? Did they tell you that that is the end result or effect?
Yeah, you see, first of all, I'm tinged with sadness that people who are supposed to know better will fall for the NDC lies, propaganda, and mischief. First of all, I told you that the tip that you played was from the middle. The president referred to Gyakye Quayson himself saying that even if they incarcerate me, the people will still vote for me. And then the president was referring to that. So you want the people to vote for you so that you save them from prison. But they just cut that part where the president said that you want to save from prison and create the impression. And Adam Abena is here calling the president, Adam, calling the president reckless and all manner of things. I think that it is not true. Secondly, for you to descend heavily on the judiciary and create the impression that the MPP is remote controlling the judiciary is quite unfortunate. In the first place, if you look at the laws, I mean, when they even asked this question not to go to Parliament again, and then the NDC was all over the place that this is injustice and all that. Are you saying that today, because as part of one of the requirements of being an MP, you need to be 21 years of age? If you are 20 years, and then maybe in some few days' time, you will be like 21. You can go and then tell the electoral commission, that I'm 21, so that when in 10 days to the election you become 21, then you say that by the time the election came I was 21. It doesn't make sense. If that is the case, for instance, when he was seeking for the renunciation certificate, it was not in his hand. It was in the hands.
Answer my question. The question I asked you.
I want to make this point.
No, let me rephrase the question.
Okay, let me make this point and then come there.
Okay.
So it was not in it was in the hands of the Canadian government. Now, supposing the Canadian government failed, and then you had already, said that you have renounced it. So are you saying that by the time that the election will come on, you haven't gotten it, and then when you are about to be sworn in, you haven't gotten your certificate yet, and then by that time you had won the election? Are you saying they should conduct a fresh election for a particular constituency because somebody had lied? So that is the reason why I'm saying that if the court ruled on this matter, you don't go around saying that the court did something untoward. And especially this was what they were ringing all over. And I'm disappointed a bit with my brother because he's a lawyer. He should be telling the people. If you say that the people have the impression that the situation is being hounded, and then because of that, they should be nolle prosequi. And even the criminal matter, they should be nolle prosequi about the criminal matter. You should be telling the people that the Supreme Court did not do anything wrong. The Supreme Court. No, you see. No, what I'm saying. No, because if the people have that impression. I'm saying if the people have
I never talked about
an erroneous impression. I'm not saying you have talked about the Supreme Court. If the people have erroneous impression,
but they do.
Wait.
They do.
If they do, you have a platform.
Please answer my question.
You have a platform like this.
You can't tell me what to
tell
say.
them that.
You can't tell me what
don't
to
have
say.
this impression.
Saka Salia.
Salia.
How did you,
yes,
government communicators,
yes,
the ruling party,
yes,
that is the MPP,
yes,
and the president who finally put the icing on the cake at that rally on Sunday or Saturday, make the conclusion or come to the conclusion that Gyakye Quayson will be jailed? And I'm asking you, is it that you spoke to the judges or you know the final outcome of the case?
I'm once again saddened that even after I explained to you and you said you have understood what the president said, the president, like I told you, did not say the impression these people are creating. That is in the first place. And if you understood that, then there is no way that you should ask me further that we have spoken to the judges. In the first place, who can speak to these eminent judges? Who can go and tell judge that incarcerate this man, take him to jail? We don't do that. The same thing that the NDC, one of the lies of the NDC is that MPP orchestrated. this whole agenda. Meanwhile, this whole thing started from the youth of Asen North itself. They reported the matter to the Electoral Commission, and they took the matter to court. And at the end of the day, the court agreed with them. And they still come and say that it is the orchestration of the MPP. The MPP will never, because look, they talk about LGBT. MPP, as we are speaking today, we are majority in parliament. If we want to pass LGBT law, we will pass it because we are a majority. The NDC went there, told the people that the MPP want to bring law about LGBT. Meanwhile, even the law in parliament, some of the members who are sponsoring the bill are MPP people. Me, sitting here 3 weeks ago, I did a press conference. I don't think that any of my brothers here have done press conference condemning LGBT. I did a press conference. Indeed, TV3 was there. All the media houses were there. As MPP person, I condemn. The press conference was just about LGBT condemnation. Then people will go and tell these Asen North people that vote against MPP, vote against this question because when you vote for them, they are going to use and no less a person than John Dramani Mahama. Mr. Mahama went there and was telling the people this whole cock and bull story, and even to the extent when we all know that when it comes to friendship with LGBT people, we know Andrew Solomon and all those people who are friends to John Dramani Mahama. But you see, okay, I'll
now,
stop from here.
you wanted to make a comment.
Just the thing, the comments that were made.
Because they started with the communicators before the president made that.
Well, let's even talk about the court comments that were made. If we were sitting around this table and we made those comments, would that not be sub judice?
It should be.
Would it not be? So why does the president feel he has the right to talk about it in court?
All right. Adam,
Because he's the president? No.
what
that's
will
not that
happen, the way Saka and the president are saying it, Gyakye Quayson could be jailed.
I don't think so.
What then will happen?
Could or could not.
Roland,
So these are
I don't
two-
think so. Yes, it's true that they have made those statements, those reckless statements, but I believe that we also have a team of very competent lawyers that are backing the Honorable Gyakye Quayson and will not allow that to happen because clearly, yes, not to get into the merits of the case because it's in court. This case is substantially different from the Adamu Sakande case. It is, and on several platforms we have had based on evidence. So I don't want to go into the matter because it is. But you see, I made some comments about the judiciary. It's not because we take pride in criticizing the judiciary, but like I said, the judiciary must appear firm and fair to everyone. So, for example, in the Techiman principles of rule of law, in the Techiman South case, in the ruling of the court, the judge said that we could not deny the people of Techiman South representation in Parliament, and so they allowed the Honorable Martin A.J. Kosa to continue serving his term in Parliament until a final determination of the case. Was that not the ruling? That was the case. But the same judiciary, as we speak, it's been 3 years. What happened to Sao? Or the people of Sao? They are not Ghanaians, and so they can be denied representation in Parliament. This is the same judiciary on Techiman South made pronouncements that we could not deny the good people of Techiman South representation. As we speak, what happened to the Sal matter?
What is the case?
3 years, they don't have a member of parliament. For 3 years, there is no representation in parliament. And yet, the same judiciary, look at their posture when it came to the James Quayson matter. And so, I think that the judiciary has a lot of work to do. And for the NPP members led by the president, it is true that when a fish gets rotten, it starts from the head. If the president, the first gentleman of the land, the leader of the party, could make such reckless statements, such reckless prejudicial statements, I'm not surprised that the likes of Saka Salia and the other foot soldiers and party communicators will be justifying it and be making similar statements. I think that we as a people are focused. And the verdict of the people was well manifested, that despite the 200 Ghana cedis per voter that the NPP shared,
You also gave money.
that despite the overnight road projects, despite all the attempt to buy votes, the intimidation, the lies about Gyakye Quayson, the president's pronouncement, the busing of people from all over, they brought over 100 buses when they had their final rally and all of that. The good people of Assin North still voted, now even in a more emphatic manner, for the member of parliament. Your party must be embarrassed. The president should be ashamed. And all those who were part of the scheming to get James Quayson out should bow down their heads in shame, because the people voted again to tell you that we want James Quayson, and it is James Quayson who will be voting for anytime you present him.
Well, let me just read this before we move on to the next one. And the topic is about the state of completion of the Agenda 111 project. This one is coming from Reverend Intim Fodjo, the Member of Parliament for Assin South, Deputy Minister for Education. He says, my attention has been drawn to a false and malicious allegation made by Joshua Kamba on your show yesterday. I wish to state categorically that I never engaged in vote buying, neither did I share money or goods before, during the Assin North by-election. I therefore demand a retraction of that malicious comment made on your show by Akamba. And then good morning to you, to your panel and your viewers. And that's again signed by John Intim Fodjo.
A member of those who are sponsoring the LGBT bill.
We apologize for the comments.
It is.
Roland.
If you feel disgruntled and then hurt by them.
Roland, one last thing.
Yes,
Don't
I
you
wanted
think-
us to move to agenda
Yes,
one.
just to add, don't you think, as the president of this country, if he had knowledge of vote buying, it would have been a good platform for him to talk against it, for him to tell the people, anybody who comes to you and tries to buy your vote, decline it. Wouldn't that have been good?
When he was the chief architect
Did he?
of the vote buy.
He's president of this country. He knows it's happening. Did he say anything about it? Because probably, it favors them.
But
Probably.
I mean, they thought, you know, I was in
the
Assin
former
North.
president was saying
NPP
that
actually
All right,
thought
anybody
that
who
the
brings
vote
money, you should take the
Danny,
money.
Danny, please
Is
show
he
some
not
of the
also a
slides
former
for me,
president?
please,
No,
please.
I'm talking about president today.
No, but the
Yesterday,
former
the
president
minister
said-
of
Former president.
You should take the money.